everyone, this is Liz again from StitchyBox. Hello. And today I'm going to show you how to use the pinhead stitch to start a new thread when you're stitching. This isn't something you're probably going to want to try to use on Ada because it does utilize kind of the center hole that you stitch over when you cross stitch. But if you're using linen or you're using even weave, this is a great way to start your thread without having to waste a whole lot of thread on the back anchoring, and it gives you a little bit more control when you're using one of those overdives because you can start the thread really pretty much exactly where you want to start it. So I'm going to be stitching on this piece of burlap because the holes are nice and open, so it makes it a little easier to video. So the thread I'm using is not quite intended for burlap, obviously. So the stitches are going to be a little bit more open, but I think you're still going to get the idea of what you would end up with if you try this on your own. So I'm going to say that this hole here, where my needle is what I would want the lower left hand of my cross stitch to be, the lower left hand hole. So instead of coming up here, I'm going to go over one, up one, and I'm going to come up in the center. And I'm going to leave just a little bit of a tail. Grab it with my finger. Okay. Now I'm going to come down right next to it in the hole directly next to that center hole. And then I'm going to come back up next on the other side of the center hole and go down in the center hole. Okay, so basically you're wrapping these two pieces of these two strands of linen, or these two strands of even weave, with your thread, and it's pretty sturdy. I'm yanking on it, nothing's coming out, I'm not holding it. And so once you've done the pinhead stitch, you actually just cross stitch right over the top of it. So, got my one leg, oops, come on, got the one leg, and I got the other leg. And even though this fabric is pretty big, you really can't see it very well, right? You can't see those little stitches. And when you're using, a normal fabric with your thread, they really do disappear. Now, the one thing I've noticed is sometimes that stitch will be a little puffier though, because you basically got padding underneath it, right? So I want to show you one other variation that I learned last year, actually. So never think that you can't learn something new, right? Because I've been using the pinhead stitch for, I don't know, 10 years now, and I just learned this variation last year. So I'm still going to come up in the center. Okay. But instead of going next to the center hole, I'm going to go diagonal to the center hole. And I'm going to come up and go back down. And what I've effectively done is made the first leg of my cross stitch. So now I'm just going to finish that stitch. Oops, sorry, this is really hard to do through the camera lens. There we go. Okay. Right? And even though you really couldn't see it a whole lot in this one, this guy, you don't see it at all because it's actually part of your cross stitch. So it's even more hidden than it was before. And I'm just going to do one more stitch, just a regular stitch next to it. Hold on. And, oh, what did I do? Helps if I actually go in the right hole, yeah? There we go. Okay, so now we've got the 3 stitches in line. Oh, and I'm hitting my camera. Alright, 3 stitches in line. We've got the first one on the left, is the one with the horizontal pin stitch. The one in the center is the one with the diagonal pin stitch, and this last one on the right is just a regular cross stitch. So really there's not a whole lot of difference, especially between those last two. If you have any questions about how to use the pin stitch, or you have some other topic that you'd like us to do a tutorial on, please leave me a comment below. And until next week, happy stitching!